If your ghetto ass ain't got no life insurance, you damn sure need to buy this NutriBurst and this tea so you can stay alive as long as possible so your family ain't got to make no fish fry in order to pay to bury your irresponsible ass. Drop down in the description box and click the link to purchase this and other health and wellness products. Funky Bunch, what's going on? It's the dog, Miss Funky Dineva Ross, and I am back with our resident insurance guru, Mr. Chris Stiff. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So listen, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with Chris, I did a video a few months ago called something like Why Black People Ain't Got No Insurance or something like that. And we brought Chris on to dispel a lot of the myths about insurance, about people having pre-existing health conditions. Chris also spoke to us about if you did have those things going on, or if you did have money issues, not to fret because there were still products out there that could potentially work for you for relatively cheap. So for those of you guys who want to go revisit that conversation, because it was a very worthwhile and informative conversation, I will put the link in the video description box down below. Now, today, we are going to talk about some things that I know a lot of you guys, you guys love talking on this generational wealth tip. And generational wealth means a lot of things, right? Like it's a huge umbrella of multiple things that lends itself to generational wealth. But in this particular conversation, I think one thing that you guys will find particularly useful, especially for those of you guys who are interested in generational wealth, the new buzz term that keeps being thrown around so loosely on social media, is kids policies. So stay tuned for that. But before we dive into the new information, Chris, you received a lot of calls from the Funky Bunch and you got a lot of questions. So let's just go over some of the things that average everyday people were calling you to discuss as a result of our first video together.
Of course. So first and foremost, I want to say that the Funky Bunch is amazing. All right. There's a lot. I've talked to a lot of different people. All right, and I can say that this far outweighed my expectations. It was really been great. Thank you to everyone who's reached out, type form, phone calls, emails, everything. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. But some of the things that I want to go over is this 2-year wait. A 2-year wait. Okay. I know people have, pre-existing conditions. They've got some things going on. They're nervous about that. They've already been denied 5 times and everything else. With my carriers, it's not going to matter, how many times you've been denied. We look at, I've got some carriers that look at medications. I've got some carriers that only look at conditions. It's really, you never know. So that's why you gotta just hand it off to me. Let me assess it and see what I can do. Also, if you are talking to somebody, you say you call up a company and they basically say, okay, what's your name? All right, your address, your social security number, how are you going to pay? Okay, your coverage starts. You're pretty much getting yourself into a 2-year wait type of program. If you only have high blood pressure, some diabetes, and high cholesterol, there is no reason for this. There's none. All right. And sometimes I'll even say that those 2-year wait programs can cost a little more than if you were to get that immediate coverage. All right. So that's one of the things. Give it to me. Let me figure it out. It's like I'm good with seniors. I'm good with people, middle age. Veterans, please send your veterans this way because there are different ways and different things that I can help with them. So I won't get into that now, but there's a lot of great things that I can do, and I love my veterans. My grandfather was, so yeah, that's a couple of the things.
So hold on, let me recap that really. Guys, what
Yeah,
I'm hearing Chris say is leave it to the professionals. Although you may have been denied before because you went through this person, or you may have had to do a 2-year wait before because you went through this person, it's just like buying a house. It's so many different programs out there, and you have to leave it to the professionals who have the vast array of knowledge across the various programs. Now, Chris is not guaranteeing that every single person that he will be able to get everything for. But what he is saying is that he has the knowledge of various programs, and please do not be alarmed by the traditional 2-year wait that you have heard about, because he may have a program that will allow you to circumvent that, regardless of if you've been denied in the past or if you have a pre-existing condition and is on any sort of medication.
exactly. Also, please avoid those commercials. Those commercials you see on television, please, anyone who's retired or semi-retired, you've seen them. AARP, whatever, they're all over the place. A lot of times they try to get you this coverage, and a lot of them are there to dupe you in a lot of different ways. I'm not going to name any more names and everything else, because that's just not a good idea. But stay away from them, because they're just sitting there in their call center and just looking to put some stuff for together for you, where I give you the attention and go into detail. Also, too, I want people to not feel so, they're going to see this and say, okay, well, I can't call him yet because I'm not going to have money for the next 3 weeks. That's not a problem. Okay. What I look for is your approval. That is all I'm looking for, is to run through everything, get all your information, send it all through, and get that approval for you. All right. Whether you can pay right away, which would be great, more power to you. Go ahead, of course. But if you have to wait a couple weeks, let me know. We'll work all that out. I'm looking for the approval, and I know one of your viewers. I talked to her. She was great. She wanted a policy. She already had one, but she wanted something different. So I had everything all set up for her, but she couldn't for some reasons, which I won't even get into. And she's like, "Give me a call in a month. Let's do this." Okay. I don't want to be too pushy, So I wait the month, and still didn't hear anything. 5 weeks, finally the 6th week, we touch base, and she tells me, "I'm sorry, but I got to tell you this: the cancer in my leg that I had came back." And I'm like, oh. She was, "So can we get this started now?" I'm like, I'm sorry. Those options, all those options that we had, the best ones are now not. They're no longer. So
Because she waited.
yeah. And I feel bad for her. I don't mean to call her out, but people need to hear this. If it looks good and if it feels good, and go with it. Don't wait. Because you never know what's going to happen with your health. We never know one day from the next. So don't wait.
And had she had the policy in place and then the cancer would have come back, that would have been of no consequence, correct?
Of course. So yeah. So say we went ahead and we got her approval, and 2 weeks later, she her cancer came back, but then her first payment wasn't going to be debited from her account for the next week or so. It's still not going to matter. It does not matter. Once we get the approval, it's a done deal.
You're good to go. You're good to go. Guys, the key word here is the approval. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. If you don't have the money necessarily right now, you need the approval. The rest can be worked out. And again, take the time to talk to Chris. Do not assume. Take the time to talk to Chris to see what can be worked out if payment and or any other obstacles are in your way. What are some of the other things, Chris, that have come across your plate?
Yeah. So also too, people are working. They say, "Yeah, I've got coverage at work. I don't need anything else." Well, look into that. Yes, please do take advantage of your benefits that you have at work, of course, by all means. But make sure you know what's going on with that coverage. So if my position here is terminated, what happens then? If I leave, what happens? What happens when I retire? All these things. Make sure you know all that. I know there are a lot of different jobs, a lot of different careers, union jobs, working for the railroad, where you get to keep your coverage, and
Mm-hmm.
God bless them for that. And then there's, for the most part, you really can, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends. It's a government job and everything else, you know. So make sure you know what's going to happen to said policy if something were to change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about, I guess that's the last of the things that
The things you're running into.
yeah.
So good. And again, for those of you guys who have not seen the first video about getting insurance, I mean, we really did take a deep dive into life insurance policies, the different obstacles that keep people from getting them, a lot of the myths we dispelled. And again, that video will be down in the description box. But let's talk about children, Chris, because this is information I think a lot of people don't know. And I think a lot of people assume just because children are young, they don't need no life insurance. They can wait till they get in their careers. They can wait till they graduate college, yada, 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 yada. So let's talk kids policies, why people should get them now, the benefits of getting them now, so on and so forth.
So kids policies. I've noticed there were a couple people that had called me or got in contact with me the first time, with the first video. They're like, "Yeah, I want to put together some coverage for my kids," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is like a new avenue." Because I've kind of been I've explained this to a lot of your viewers. I've been driving in one lane, and so what this did, what you and I, this work has really opened some different doors. I've been able to go into different avenues, and I love it when people are like, "Yeah, I want to insure my kids," because this is the best time. You have no idea how quick and how easy it is to insure a child anywhere from the ages of 0 to 17. Okay, it is so easy, because especially when they're healthy. All right, it's 1, 2, 3, and on top of that, you kind of instill that in their minds, of the importance of this. It was never instilled in my mind. It was, and I can see that happening. I've talked to some other people just the past couple of weeks. Who are like, we never learned about this. They should really teach this stuff in school, but they don't. But I digress on that. But I know I spoke to one woman, and she said that she's amassed about 14 different policies, and she's like, I want to build generational wealth for my daughter. And I'm like, that's very impressive. I said, I commend you for that. And she wanted to know what else she can do. I said, you're on the right path. As far as the financial sector that I'm, the financial realm that I'm in, insurance, that's the best way to do it. Not everybody's in that position. Okay, I get that. So instead, try at a different approach. Go with the kids. Do insure your kids right away, especially while they're young. But what we can do is we can make sure that they have guaranteed insurability. So, your kid obviously is in great shape and everything else, but maybe someone in the family has had cancer, maybe or something like that. You want to insure them right away, because we can make sure that they have the guaranteed insurability. So if something were to develop later on down the road, it's not going to matter. And also when they turn, in their 20s, they can also add coverage and everything else. The cash accrual is also great, because by the time that they're 18, all right, and they are, ready to go to, school, college, and everything else, they can dip into the cash accrual, and that can help out. So getting them started right away is very important. It's a behavior.
And what I'm hearing you say is, for those of you guys out there who are suffering with the whole drama of pre-existing conditions, so on and so forth, what Chris is saying is the beautiful thing and the beautiful blessing about most of our young kids is that they're healthy, they're vibrant, they have no pre-existing conditions other than they're hyper and bad as hell and can't get off the iPad. This is the perfect time. And Chris, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misspeaking, but I would imagine that these are relatively cost effective.
For a child, yes. So there's a couple things we can do. There's one where you can pay on it up to age 120, and then there's pay to 100, and then there's also where you can do a 10 pay. You're going to find that to be more beneficial. because you pay on it for 10 years and the coverage is just theirs. That's it. It's also going to accrue more cash than it would paying to 100. As a
Gotcha.
child, do you really want to be paying 100 years for for your newborn child,
Right.
for their coverage? No, you want to put them in a 10 pay,
Mhm.
get something started for them. And so yeah, that's
That's
it's
where to go.
yeah.
So the Funky Bunch, I can already feel through the screen, a lot of you guys' spidey senses going off when it comes to these children. Ensure these babies, make sure these babies are right. And again, wow, excuse me, Chris can't quote you a number right in this video because everybody is different and everybody has different needs. In the grand scheme of life, if you get these policies for your children now, the amount will be so small that you will not have to change your lifestyle in order to accommodate paying for a policy for a young healthy child. So Chris, I know that you also wanted to move into annuities. Let's give the girls a little bit about annuities for those who are unfamiliar and how you and what you do tie into that.
Okay. So annuities. This is not something I had done a lot before. So I had people coming at me about annuities after we did the first video, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." So yes, this is something that I can take care of for you. I can help you invest in one. So there are a few different types of annuities. All right. So when it comes to like a fixed annuity, so in that case, there's a large sum that you can invest into this annuity, and also too there can be periodic contributions while you are working towards this annuity. All right, and so it could be done either way. Fixed is it's a great way to go because it's at a fixed rate. So it's going to be fixed throughout the whole, especially throughout the accumulation phase and everything else. So there's less risk. You already know what it is.
Mhm.
There are things like indexed annuities, all right, where this is different, where it's based on the performance of the market, such as like an S&P 500. All right, this can bring more higher yields, and that's great. But there are also a lot of provisions in place that might hinder the maximum potential.
Mhm.
So then from there, we have variable annuities. This is risky. This is more aggressive, and this is not something I would be doing.
Mhm.
If you're looking for that, I'm not your boy. All right,
Mhm.
unfortunately, because what this is it relies on basically underlying portfolios of sub accounts and
Mhm.
everything else. So I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't want to make a buck on putting something like this together at someone else's expense when everything can tank. And then what's going to
Mhm.
happen? Like, what happened to my $70,000 investment? And then you're coming after me, knocking on my door. So
Mhm.
I would rather just be conservative and just be safe about it.
And good. And guys, just quickly, we're bringing up the annuity conversation because we kept hearing generational wealth, generational wealth. Everybody wants to talk about generational wealth. So this annuity situation, and I don't know if I introed this right. It varies. Different from the life insurance conversation. This is more of an investment conversation right now that we're just going to have lightly in the interest of time. But if you want more information about that, because everybody seems to be interested in generational wealth, just like in the last video, a lot of all of Chris's information will be down in the description box for you to reach out to him, and he can reach back out to you and have an in-depth conversation with you about different investing strategies, different insurance strategies, insurability, pre-existing conditions, all of that stuff. And lastly, Chris, before we get out of here, I want to touch on, Acorn. I hear everybody has been talking about Acorn. I know a lot of people, particularly in the African American community, if they're anything like me, they've grown up hearing their parents say things like, save your money, save your money. My parents used to always say, save your money. But they do very little about investing. They've never used the word investing for my father never said invest your money, nor has my mom. And I know that Acorn is a very user-friendly way that people with no experience, no education, who are ignorant to investing can get into investing with minimal risk. Can you please tell us a bit about Acorn?
Okay, I'm about to geek out because when it comes to Acorns, when
Uh-huh.
I first discovered this Acorns, I was like, what? It's this beautiful little app that you can download. All right. And so what it does is it helps you save throughout your daily life. So the minute you wake up and you go to Starbucks and you buy this foo drink for 4.50 or whatever, right? You're gonna pay 4.50 for that drink, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna take the other 50 cents, round it up to the next increment, and invest that into a money market account. All right, so you can have this linked to your credit cards, you can have this linked to um, your checking account and everything else, and wherever whatever you want to use. You can use that card, your debit card, whatever. If it's linked, it goes straight to there. That's the best thing. So you'll be saving this money going about your day. You stop for gas on the way home from work, or you got to do stop here, stop at the grocery store. Imagine how many times that check is being thrown in there. You look in your account 3 to 4 months later, you're like, whoa, I have $500 saved up. How did that happen? I think that is powerful enough to make people get people excited about saving money. I didn't even know I did this, and here
And
it
it's
is.
money you're not missing. You don't realize it.
You don't miss it, and you don't even know. And then you look and like, oh, there it is. And then when something happens, like I don't know, you overspent money somewhere and you can't pay on your phone bill, you can reach into there and you can pull that out. It's your money. All right. There's a lot of great benefits. One of the things is that you can establish another checking account with Acorns. And I know people can be like, I already got one of those and I'm fine. Get another one. All right. Because people really should be having at least 4 different accounts. There should be a checking account for your bills. All right. A checking account for all of your personal expenditures, going out, fun, whatever. And then you want an account for emergency funds, like 3 to 6 months worth of salary in case if something happens to your job or whatever, car breaks down. And then finally, your 4th account you want is the one that's the long-term goal, for saving up for a wedding, down payment on a home, things like that. That's what you need to have 4 accounts for. All right, at least. And so also too, this is going back to this whole generational wealth. If you have kids, there is a space in the app called Acorns Early. You can start an account for your kids as well, and you can do the same thing for them. What you can also do is it doesn't have to be your kid. It could be, if you don't have any kids, for a godchild or niece, nephew, whatever. All you need is just some basic information about them, their social security number, and you can get this going for them right away. And also too, I know this funky guy, he's gonna put up a little link, and once you click on that link, it'll prompt you to download the app. And then once you do, you create your account and everything else. It should look something like this. All right. And so once you invest $5 into your new account, Acorns is going to automatically match that and give you $5 on top of that. Is this life changing? No, it's not. But it's something. Hey, you got $5 out of doing what? Nothing.
Right.
So use that code. I think people will really get into this, because I've mentioned it to a few of your viewers. And really, so I'm happy to kind of bring this up. So.
Indeed. So guys, a quick, easy way for you to invest. Again, if you spend $4.50 on coffee, Acorn's going to round it up to $5. It's going to put the additional 50 cents in an account and invest it for you. So in addition to the money you accrue, you're also going to get money from your money being invested. And if you're anybody like me who has those little side accounts, you forget that they're there. Then you check them every 7 months, and it's like, oh wow, I've got this bucket of money that I didn't know was in there. Then I go spend it all, but that's a whole different. I got to talk to the psychologist for that, not Chris.
you you know how that feels, and you can speak to
Right.
that,
Right. No,
and so
indeed.
that's what they're going to see.
Indeed.
And that's I think it's pretty powerful stuff. What you can also do really quick is you can also set it up to where you can invest on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, like your own. Hey, so I want to put $20 in this every week. You can do that. It'll show you a little trajectory of where your money is going to be 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now into retirement, and how much you could potentially save by how you're spending already. So
Good deal. So good deal. Chris, we got a lot of information in on this video. Guys, again, all the links that you will need for communication with Chris, the old video, Acorn, or anything that we talked about will be in this description box of this video down below. Do not hesitate whatsoever to reach out to Chris with any of your questions. His email, phone number, type form, all of that will be there. And guys, this will not be the last time that we'll have Chris on the show. As we begin to have conversations with different people and kind of gauge the needs of the community, that's how we decide what we're going to come back and talk about. So drop down in the comments. Feel free to be as vocal as possible about things you'd like to know about. Do not hesitate to reach out to Chris. And until next time, Chris, thank you so much for speaking with us. And guys, the next time we do another video, I want y'all's money invested. I want y'all's kids insured. And I at least wanted you guys to have started the ball on getting a policy. And until next time, bye-bye.